Hello everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin, the channel where every moment beneath the spotlight comes alive. Tonight, we're diving into a story that has set the entire K-drama world ablaze. What seemed like an ordinary awards night suddenly turned into one of the talked about moments of the year, when a single look from Chae-min changed everything. Yes, you guessed it, the moment caught on camera, Chae-min's jealous stare that shook K-drama fans worldwide. What was behind that piercing gaze? Was it just timing? Or something far more personal? Stay with us, because we're about to uncover the truth, the tension, and the story that no fan saw coming. Let's dive in, right now. The night glittered with lights, laughter, and the sound of 1,000 cameras clicking in rhythm. It was supposed to be one of those flawless moments that K-drama fans adore, a celebration of elegance, charm, and picture-perfect chemistry. But in a single, fleeting instant, something changed. The spotlight shifted, the air froze, and all of Asia held its breath. The camera panned across the hall, from glamorous stars to glowing smiles, and then stopped. The lens caught Chae-min. For less than 2 seconds. He wasn't acting. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't pretending. What the world saw instead was raw, unfiltered emotion, a glare that spoke louder than words. It was the kind of look that makes time slow down. His eyes were steady, sharp, and undeniably human, filled with something that shimmered dangerously between envy and heartbreak. The moment the feed cut away, it was already too late. Millions had seen it. Social media exploded before the show even ended. See Chae-min's face, that stare could kill, there's no way that was just acting. Hashtags like Chae-min look, jealous stare, and caught on camera started trending in seconds. Within hours, that single glare became the most replayed clip of the night. But what triggered it? Moments before the camera found him, Yoona and Lee Jun-ho were standing center stage, the golden duo whose chemistry had long been adored by fans. Their laughter was soft, their smiles effortless. They teased each other naturally, and the audience melted. It was harmless fun, or so everyone thought. Yet to Chae-min, sitting just a few rows away, it wasn't just another friendly interaction. Those who know him said his expression changed the moment Yoona turned toward Jun-ho with that familiar warmth, the same warmth she used to show him off camera, months ago. When they worked together on a brand shoot that blurred the line between fiction and something dangerously real. The industry had whispered about it quietly, how Yoona and Chae-min had bonded quickly during filming. How their eyes lingered longer than necessary. Laughter carried that quiet tension of people pretending not to feel too much. They were careful. Painfully careful, but the connection was undeniable. Then came Jun-ho. When Yoona was cast alongside Jun-ho for a new drama, fans celebrated a reunion of a beloved on-screen couple. But for those close to Chae-min, the shift was unmistakable. He became distant, quieter. In interviews, he smiled politely, deflecting any question about Yoona with the practiced grace of a professional. But behind that calm exterior, something was unraveling. And that night, under the hot glare of stage lights, it finally cracked. The clip showed it all, Jun-ho whispering something to Yoona, her hand brushing his arm as she laughed, and Chae-min's eyes narrowing, just slightly, as if caught between disbelief and pain. It wasn't fury, it was something deeper. Something that screamed, I shouldn't care, but I do. In just 2 seconds, the illusion of perfection shattered. By dawn, the internet was ablaze. Fans dissected every frame like detectives solving a mystery. Was he jealous? Was there something between them? Did Yoona really move on? Comment sections became emotional battlegrounds. Some defended him, he's just tired. Don't twist it. Others insisted they saw heartbreak clear as day. Meanwhile, entertainment outlets couldn't resist. Chae-min's stare sparks jealousy rumors. K-drama reality or real-life drama? The glare that broke the internet. His agency released a brief statement hours later. There is no personal matter between the involved parties. Refrain from unnecessary speculation. But speculation was unstoppable. Because deep down, they didn't just see an actor on screen, they saw themselves. That moment of jealousy, of seeing someone you once held close smiling with someone else, it was universal. That's what made it so powerful. So unforgettable. Behind closed doors, Chae-min reportedly went silent. He stopped checking his phone. He canceled interviews. Crew members noticed a difference, the way his energy dimmed. The way he stood longer in hallways before walking on set. As if collecting himself. He wasn't angry, one staff member said later. He looked heartbroken. Like he wanted to be invisible. Yet, invisibility was the one thing he couldn't have. The entire industry was watching him, dissecting him. Paparazzi followed his every step, hoping to catch even a glimpse of his reaction. Yoona and Junho's names appeared alongside his in every headline. Their friendship now weaponized by the public's obsession with scandal. But what no one knew, what no one could have guessed, was that the real story was far from over. Only days after the viral glare that shattered the internet. Private meeting between Chae-min, Yoona, Lee Junho took place behind closed doors, and what happened in that room would send shockwaves through the industry like never before. The air in Seoul felt heavier in the days following that viral night. Every entertainment outlet was running the same clip on loop, that split-second glare from Chae-min that had somehow become the center of the world's attention. His silence only made things louder. He stayed away. The more people talked. It wasn't anger that burned in his eyes that night. It was something far more complicated. Behind the cameras and bright lights, a storm had been building for months. Chae-min and Yoona had remained friendly after their project together, often seen at events and private gatherings. Nothing romantic was ever confirmed, but those who had seen them offstage spoke of an unspoken connection, quiet and sincere. She once called him her bride junior. And he once said she was the kind of person who makes a room feel lighter. But when she began working with Junho, things changed. Whispers spread, not because of scandal. Because of chemistry. Their drama became an international hit. Behind-the-scenes clips went viral. And fans began pairing them as the next it couple. Every time Yoona and Junho appeared together, the world cheered. And somewhere in that roar of applause, fans' quiet feelings began to suffocate. On the night of the awards show, everything he had bared rose to the surface. That one look, that flash of emotion, was the culmination of months of restraint. And of heartbreak that's too painful to hide but too dangerous to admit. The next morning, his agency tried to manage the chaos. Phones rang non-stop. Reporters camped outside his building. And producers worried that the growing narrative would overshadow their upcoming projects. Still, Chae-min said nothing. Refused to fuel gossip, but inside, the silence was breaking him apart. A few days later, he agreed to meet Yoona and Junho privately, away from the cameras, away from the noise. In a quiet restaurant in Cheongdam-dong. After closing hours, the city outside was still alive, but inside seemed to stop. Yoona spoke first. "Sorry," she said softly. "You didn't deserve all this. None of us did." Chae-min didn't answer right away. Just stared at the glass in his hand, watching the condensation drip like slow tears. Finally, he looked up. "No, it wasn't your fault. But it felt real. For a moment, it felt real." He leaned forward, trying to ease the tension. "It's not what people think. You know how this industry works. See what they want to see." Chae-min nodded, but his eyes were distant. "Yet, they see what they want. Just like I did." For a while, no one spoke. Silence was thick, but not cruel. It was the kind of silence that only exists between people who once shared something that words can't explain. When they finally left that night, apologies were needed. They understood each other, and that was enough. But the world outside didn't stop spinning. Fans kept talking. Analysts dissected his emotions like a crime scene. Every expression became an exclusive. Post became a hidden message. The digital fire refused to die down. Then, on the fifth day, Chae-min broke his silence. He posted a single photo, a black and white shot of the stage lights from that infamous night, and wrote, "Sometimes, feelings slip through before we can hide them. But that's what makes us human." No names. No defense. Just truth. It was simple, but it hit harder than any official statement could. Within an hour, the post was everywhere. Celebrities shared it. Fans reposted it with messages of support. And even critics admitted that his honesty was disarming. The first time since the scandal broke, the internet went quiet, not in judgment, but in reflection. Yoona later liked the post, breaking her own silence. Junho followed by commenting, "All live under the same lights. Respect to anyone brave enough to show their heart." That was the end of the storm. Weeks later, Chae-min appeared again in public, at a press event for a new drama. He looked calm, collected, even radiant. Reporters asked about the viral moment, and he smiled faintly before answering. It was just a look, but maybe it reminded people that we're not perfect. And that's okay. The audience applauded. Just like that, the story that had once been labeled a scandal became something else entirely, a story about vulnerability, truth, and the cost of feeling too deeply in a world that punishes honesty. Months passed. The internet moved on, chasing new stories, new faces, new flames to ignite. But that moment, that look, never truly disappeared. Came a symbol, a meme, a memory. Fans still replayed it. Out of mockery, but nostalgia. Because in that one frozen frame, they saw something genuine, something no script could create. In a later interview, was asked about the incident. She smiled gently and said, "People called it jealousy. But I think it was just emotion. What makes him such a good actor? He feels things deeply." And Jun-ho, when asked the same question, simply replied, "Sometimes a single second tells the whole story." Chae-min, he never revisited that night again. He didn't need to. The world had already done it for him a million times. Turned one moment of weakness into a timeless reminder that even behind the brightest stage lights, humans remain fragile, imperfect, deeply real. When fans talk about that night now, they no longer say the glare, they say, the look that changed everything. And in a way, it did, because for the first time, the world saw not the celebrity, not the image, the man behind it all. In a world obsessed with perfection, an honest expression of feeling had burned through the illusion, and what remained was truth. Lee Chae-min didn't just stare that night. He revealed something millions hide every day, the pain of caring too much, of being seen too clearly. And that's why people couldn't look away. Because for one raw, unforgettable second, he was every one of us.